we've talked a lot about traffic stops and police interaction and involvement with the police and whatnot. And Seneca asked me earlier if I would put together some points, having worked a little bit in public safety, some various points about and tips as far as when you're interacting with a police officer. And I guess I'm going to just start this kind of like from a perspective of a traffic stop, and then maybe we'll go from there, and some of those other points and aspects will come into play when you get outside in a traffic stop situation. So, starting off first, you're driving down the road, you see the pretty blue and red lights in your rear view mirror, you hear the siren, you pull on over, okay? And, first, they always say with the pullover, don't drive a half a mile before you pull over. Put the turn signal on, start slowing down, and get over at the first safe location you can. So, good points right there off the bat. The officer is going to, best thing you can do, and I was pulled over myself not terribly long ago, and I pushed the button and rolled my window down, and I put my hands on the top of the steering wheel, and I just sat there until the officer come to my window. Hands are right there in the open. Because regardless of what town or city or state that the officer is in, regardless of if it's a good cop, bad cop, somewhere in between, that cop is on guard when he's approaching your vehicle. He is on guard and he is watching because, sometimes people shoot them. So he's looking for these things as he's coming up here. It's just easier for you to keep your hands around the top of the steering wheel and just let them sit there. He'll come up there and people say, well, what about getting my license ready, my registration, this and that? No, just wait. He'll tell you what he needs. So he says, can I see your driver's license? You can say, yes, it's in my wallet in my right hip pocket. Okay, if I go ahead and get that? He'll tell you what to do. He'll be like, sure, go ahead, or no, hey, what's the deal, or something. He'll tell you. Ladies, if it's in your purse, you're in your billfold or wallet in your purse, just sign, well, yes, I have it, but it's in my purse. Is that okay? He'll tell you, sure, go ahead and get it, or whatever. Now, should you happen to have a weapon where you are going to be reaching, say, for a lady's perspective, say you have a firearm, and let's just say that you have a permit for said firearm, you're a perfectly legal gun owner and gun carrier, that's fine, but if it's in your purse and you got to reach into that purse to get that wallet out with your driver's license, might be a good time to let him know that. You might say to the officer, to him or her, hey, my license is in my billfold there in my purse, but I also have my carry permit and my gun is in there as well.
I almost think it's best. It's almost. Would you suggest, Michael, like in some situations, if you feel that there's an imminent, threat, do you think it's just better just to hand the purse to them and just say, hey, it's in there?
I was just getting ready to ask that. Like, I feel more comfortable just being like, hey, here's my purse. It's in there. Do what you do.
And in the cases of that, and I know that, there was one of the recent things in the news, the guy tried to do all this stuff and he got shot. And I would say that that's going to, they're pretty much, they're going to have that cop in prison. If they don't, then they're blind. But in the case of this, I would say, hey, it's in that purse, and so's my gun that I have a permit for. How do you want to do this?
So pretty much communication is the key.
Yes. Hey, the gun's in the purse along with my permit and my wallet and my ID card, but how do you want to do this? And, my grandmother actually went through something like that about 10 years ago, and the cop called her and said, just hand me the purse and all. Just pick it up by the straps and just hand it here. She said, okay, here you go. She picked it up, handed it to me, and said, okay, here. So, all right. Other tip, guys, same different scenario possibly for you. Say most typical guys, we got it in the pants pocket. All right, well, you have it in your pants pocket, and he says, go ahead, I need to see your driver's license registration. Just say to him, it's in my back right hip pocket. Is it okay? Go ahead and get that. He'll probably be like, yeah, okay. Or he may say, do you have any weapons that I need to know about? If you happen to be carrying a handgun in the small of your back, now would probably be a good time to say something. Because if you're going to reach back there, and there's a gun back there, and they happen to see it, it's not going to be a real pleasant experience on this stop. But it's probably going to be very tense. So, if you've got something on you like that, tell them. Especially if you have to reach in that vicinity or go by it to get to what you're going to hand them, let them know. Because if they happen to see it, they're probably going to think that's a threat. Especially your registration. A lot of people, I keep my registration in my glove box. If you happen to have a gun in your glove box, you might want to tell them, so that way when you drop that door open and their flashlight sees a gun and you reaching for it, probably not a good idea.
So again, communication and common sense.
Absolutely.
That is okay.
Right, because
it goes a long way.
Because I was just getting ready to say, a lot of people posted on my Facebook about the girl that was in the car with Castillo, the one that got killed in Minnesota. And they were saying, well, why did she choose to record, hit the record button on Facebook or whatever? And it's like, this dude just told the officer that he has a permit to carry and he has a weapon and he just got 4 bullets put in him. You think she's going to move again? Because, and they were like, well, why didn't she try to help him? If she would have reached towards him, even though this gun still had not been removed from his person, that officer would have shot him.
Yeah, the situation has already gone to hell. The best thing she could do is just not move. Just not move.
Right.
Now, another thing, getting outside of basically the rule from the traffic stop, let the officer tell you what he needs you to do, what he needs you to hand him, and tell him where you're going to be reaching to go get said item. If you have a weapon in the car, let him know. Not just a gun, knives too. So, I know some people also have, I know a couple of ladies that have a little baseball bat thing tucked in between the seats of their car or something. Probably not as big of a threat, but if you drop your license down between the seats of the car and you have to reach there to get it, I'd probably just on the safe side let him know. Especially if you think the cop's a little bit jumpy. Tell them. Again, communication. Now, dealing with the police, say, outside of a traffic stop situation, walking down the street, in your apartment complex, wherever, number one, it's going to help the situation if you don't put your hands in your pockets. Now, I can tell you that is a psychological, it seems like it is a complete reaction. For some reason, especially when you're nervous, people want to put their hands in their pockets. It seems to be like a knee-jerk response. It really does. But take a deep breath, relax, try to not put your hands in your pockets. Don't go reaching back behind your shirt, either acting like, maybe you're just scratching an itch, and that's fine, but probably not a good idea to make a sudden reach like that. Again, and with one of the people had said earlier, just arguing with the officers on the side of the road or wherever isn't going to help the situation. They say you're speeding, you say, no, I'm not. Guess what? They still said you're speeding. So getting into an argument there on the side of the road, one, maybe you would have gotten off with a verbal warning, who knows, but, if you chose to argue with them, it's probably not going to be a verbal warning. It's probably going to be a paper ticket then.
And the thing about it, too, Michael, people need to realize is you can always contest it or whatever another day. Exactly. I mean, it's always another day to do that. You're
exactly.
Like I always say, man, your job is just to get through whatever you got to get through and go about your business. You can always.
That's what I was going to do. Yes, that's what I was going to go right back to what that guy had said to Wendy Williams was, you go home. So in the meantime, you just go, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, okay, take it to court. It's a trap.
Right, you gotta, I feel for the young man that got killed in Minnesota, because his mom and dad were on the news a couple nights ago, and everything that you're saying, Mike, is everything that she said, this is what I taught my son.
Yeah, I've seen that article, yeah.
She said, this is everything that I taught my son. I taught my son to comply. I taught my son to say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Yes, sir, no, sir. I taught my son to respect authority, and he never had no real run-ins. He had a couple, things or whatever, but he never had no real trouble with the cops. And she was like, how do you go on knowing that this is what you taught your kids growing up, but yet now I have to bury my child?
Right.
Exactly. And you know what? That's like they talk about safety programs. No safety program is ever, they may be really good advice, but at the end of the day, there's bad shit and there's bad people.
Right. I was just like, that's just crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, and I can tell you these are ways to prepare for instances and are things that are pretty good things to go by, but at the end of the day, there's bad situations and there's bad people.
Right. And I always say, it's a little bit of a joke that I have with my friends when I'm in the car. Like, I tell them all the time, like, if I pull over, everybody shut the hell up. Don't nobody say nothing. Everybody, shut up. Right? For real.
Yeah.
Because you idiots will get us all locked up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so serious. Everybody, shut up.
In the situation where there's a carload of people and you're in maybe a car and there's 3 other people in that car with you, let's say you're in the back seat and you're innocent. You weren't even the person speeding. You're just in the back seat going wherever along for the ride. And the other 3 people in the stock car start getting mouthy and rowdy with the cop, and you see him reach up and push that little button on his shoulder and say something, and then you hear more sirens coming down block. The best thing you can do is just put your hands out there where they can see him and just drop your head and say, oh, this is going to be a bad day.
Right.
And you just hope they remember that. You weren't involved in that.